I grew up in a family that I would later realize was basically a part of a cult. I knew that even before I had vocabulary for it, knew that I liked boys. The conversation ended with my dad saying, well, there's help for this, right? And so got into conversion therapy, got in as if it was a school that I applied for. So if you do gay things, you're not gay, you just happened to do gay things. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me for sure. If you do the right things and follow these steps, the attractions will go away. But of course, conversion therapy does not work. And I said, very matter of factly and believing it from my education, I said, well, yeah, lots of straight guys only have sex with men.
Okay.
And I was dead serious. And he goes, that's not a thing. No, they don't.
Okay.
And I was like, what? It was the first video I posted and it went viral immediately. It got like 300,000 views or something. The introduction of more characters like the Mean Gays and the Clarksons. I've found what the algorithm likes a little bit more, what my audience likes a little bit more. But even recently, like with as many followers as I have, sometimes the algorithm is just not having it today. They're like, what are you doing here? You think you can succeed today? That's so cute.
Hi everyone, I'm Azamat, founder of Friend of Dorothy. Today we're excited to have an actor, comedian, social media influencer, Aaron Goldenberg. Hi
Hi,
Aaron.
thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining our show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I just had therapy this morning, so I'm fully like self-aware and self-realized, and it was my first ever session, but I think I'm all fixed and I'm ready to do this.
Wonderful. I just
Yeah.
restarted mine after a little break. So yeah, I think we'll touch point
Yeah,
on
say
that.
I've probably been in therapy for like 15 years, so
Oh my God. So
yeah.
since you were born.
I'm just a baby. I'm just a teenage boy.
Aaron, speaking of being baby, we usually
Mhm,
ask our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves, starting from the beginning.
mhm.
What was your family like, upbringing, and coming out story?
Let's jump right in. I grew up in Miami. And I grew up in a family that I would later realize was basically a part of a cult, the IBLP cult or movement or belief system, whatever you want to call it. I'm one of 11 kids, and I'm number two. So I got to see the family grow, 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 and grow. And yeah, very, very religious from a young age, always going to church and religious services. And yeah, I knew that even before I had vocabulary for it, knew that I liked boys and was interested in all that, but also not having the vocabulary for it, knew that everybody else seemed different or seemed to put that down or that it wasn't right or in the more extreme Christian views of it was like meant demon possession, meant going to hell, meant all of that stuff. And the older I got, the more I would fool around, the more I, eventually started like having full on sex. And my parents discovered some internet history, uh, which it was like 3 pages of internet history that my dad printed out and presented to me and was like, hey, so what is this?
Wait, how old were you?
At that time, I think I was 15,
Okay.
14 or 15.
Okay.
Um, so they were like, what is this? And I just said this on another podcast recently. The fact that they knew to ask me whose
Yeah.
internet history it was,
Yeah.
there were lots of other kids in the house,
Of
but
course.
they knew to ask me. I was like, "Oh, so they knew.
Yeah.
They knew it was me." Um, I m I was just feeling extra catty that day. I was like, "What does it look like?"
Okay.
So the conversation did not end how I thought it was. Like, I was ready to come out
Yeah.
at that point. I was, like, just mustering up the courage, basically, but I also knew that or I believed that for me, coming out also meant giving up my faith, probably having to move out, going to hell, all that stuff, but I was just, like, really tired of holding on to this secret, for so long, and the conversation ended with my dad saying, "Well, you know there's help for this, right?"
Mhm.
And I said, "Yeah." And I'm one of those try hard, straight A, good student people. And so I wanted to do the right thing
Mhm.
as I believed it to be. And so got into conversion therapy, got in as if it was a school that I applied for. Um, I started conversion therapy and our church graciously paid for it, of course. I just plainly asked one day early on in our sessions, like, so what in here that I share with you would you be required to tell my parents?
Mhm.
And he was like, well, obviously, if you relapse, so if you look at porn or if you have sex again, I was like, oh, okay, got it. And in my head, I was like, great. So I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah. Okay. So you
I am
have to
going
lie
to
again, right?
Right. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna waste these sessions. But also at the same time, I was still like, well, let me like really try. So I read all the pamphlets, I read all the books, I watched all the DVDs, I went to conferences. It was such a split life in that moment, even though I was still knowing that I was very attracted to guys. I also sadly was very, very effectively brainwashed in conversion therapy. So not that the attractions or the actions went away, but I was brainwashed to the extent of like, I believed that being gay was not a real thing. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't really exist. What I was taught was, for example, if somebody commits adultery or cheats on their spouse, they're not identified as an adulterer. So if you do gay things, you're not gay. You just happened to do gay things. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me for sure. And also just taught that, like, if you do the right things and follow these steps, the attractions will go away. You'll be able to be like attracted to women and all that stuff. So I was like, great. But of course, conversion therapy does not work.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening for me was just a cycle of even deeper shame because I was like, well, I'm doing all the things they told me to do and it's still not working. So there's something extra wrong with me. And I'm watching all these testimonials,
Yeah.
these people saying that
It worked?
they're married now, they have kids now, it works. Even though I only did conversion therapy for a year, it kept me very lost and very in the closet for 13 more years.
Wow.
Um, in and out of some kind of cycle of shame or celibacy. The last 5 of those 13 years, I was completely celibate because at that point I was like, I got to get my shit together. This is not okay. I have to stop having sex. I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to be honest with everybody at my church. At that point I was going to like a new church. And so thankfully my church was not they weren't opposed to me having same-sex attraction, which is the very Christian slash conversion therapy way of talking about it. Because you're not gay, you have same sex attraction.
Okay.
Being gay or identifying as gay means that you accept it, that you believe it, that you embrace it, and that's like the no no
Mhm.
place. But this church was like, as long as you're being honest and not relapsing and trying your best, you're welcome to work here. And so I worked there, I served there. I started dating a girl, which was like my first real girlfriend. We dated for 2 years, and I was like getting ready to propose just because that's what you do. But because I was honest with her throughout our dating period. Finally, thank God, she broke up with me. And
Was it
uh,
sexless relationship?
yeah, yeah.
So you played Barbies
Um,
together and then Britney Spears slave for you.
so we watched Mean Girls, we watched Legally Blonde, the Un the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
I would, like, in a group of friends, like our married friends and then the 2 of us, I'd be like, "You know what? I'm not embarrassed to say I like Legally Blonde. It's a great movie." And people would be like, "Yeah, yeah, it is a great movie. Why are straight people so scared to say that?" And I'd be like, "Exactly." But I just wanted to be Elle Woods, you know? I wanted to, like, be the fabulous, like, talk up to authority and be like, "You shut your mouth," and, like, "I object."
You say that you were very open. Did that mean that you would openly say that you
It
have
depends
gay thoughts?
it depends who I was talking to.
Okay.
I wouldn't just tell anybody, but, like, my closest church friends, for sure. I would tell my girlfriend because in my mind, I was like, I don't wanna be the guy who is married to a woman for 7 years, and then all of a sudden this huge blow up thing happens. I wanted to do it the right way and let her know that I was attracted to guys from the beginning.
Mhm,
So, like, even before we dated, I told her, I've only ever been with guys. I'm very attracted to guys, but I also know that God wants me to marry a woman. And so I'm working on that. And her also having grown up very Christian and surrounded by those similar beliefs, she was like, absolutely. Yeah, that totally makes sense for sure. Anyway, she broke up with me. And I realized at that point that I had been using alcohol to numb so much of what I was feeling and going through, as well as prior to me being celibate for those 5 years, I had used alcohol as an excuse. So I'm drinking with some buddies, something happens next morning. Oh my God, I was so drunk. I'm so sorry.
mhm. That wasn't
Or
you, yeah? It was
right, that wasn't me. That
yeah.
totally wasn't me. I've never done that before. I decided to go with my friend to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, even though at the time I wasn't like, "Oh, I need AA." I was just like, "I whatever. I'll go with you." And then over the next month, I ended up going every day and resonating more and more with what people were saying. And I also it was really the first time where I was surrounded by people consistently that were not hyper Christian, hyper religious.
Mhm,
I think in church, I would say things like, God is all loving, God is whatever. But inside, I really felt, oh, God hates me. God is disgusted by me.
mhm,
God is disappointed in me constantly. And so in the program, if people aren't familiar, there's step 4 is to make like an inventory basically of everything, every resentment, every way that you've ever harmed anybody, and then not everybody does this, but a lot of sponsors make you do a sex inventory as well, which is really just a way to be like, how have you used sex to manipulate people? And for me, of course, having only ever had sex with guys, I thought all of it was evil, no matter how consensual it was. So I wrote down every name, everything I'd ever done. And I basically gave my sponsor a disclaimer because I knew deep down that he would hear what I was about to say and be like, "So you're gay?"
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And so I gave a disclaimer, "You're about to hear a bunch of gay shit, but that's not what I am. God is taking me in a different direction." I was very adamant and hopeful that he would understand that I wasn't gay.
mhm, mhm,
So I read through my list and he's kind of slowly nodding, and I could tell he was like trying to think of the words to say. He was an atheist and he was straight.
mhm,
And he goes, "So I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. And I want you to know that what I'm about to say is not meant to be insulting.
mhm,
But I just want to point out that every name you listed were guys' names."
mhm,
And I said, very matter of factly and believing it from my education, from my therapy, whatever. And I said, well, yeah, lots of straight guys only have sex with men.
okay.
And I was dead serious.
Yeah,
And he goes, that's not a thing.
okay,
No, they don't.
okay.
And I was like, What? Like, that was the first time anybody had said that very, very obvious fact of
Yeah.
life. But I think being around those people, like I said, just how accepting they were, it was the first time I'd really been around a lot of people who didn't think of gay as being less than or bad or something to fix. And in fact, it was embraced and celebrated. So I slowly but surely started to finally ask questions.
Mhm.
Well, what if God did make me this way?
Mhm.
That seemed like a bad question, like a question that comes from the devil, is
Mhm.
kind of where I was. So I never really allowed myself to ask God, what if God did make me this way? And what if it's not something he hates about me, but it's part of what makes me beautiful and part of myself that I've been shoving down and denying for so long unnecessarily.
Mhm.
And also, like, look at the evidence, dude. Like, you are to say that you are straight is fucking delusional. Like, the simplest answer here is the correct one. You're gay. It was a journey. I definitely went through the like, well, I'm bi, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Like, if a guy asked me out on a date, I would probably go out on a date, but I'll still probably marry a woman. I came out to my church, who then probably was like, well, now that you're accepting it, you can no longer work here. That was the longest answer to that simple question, but I don't know how to give a short answer. So,
No
anyway,
problem.
started slowly coming out from then. And yeah, moved to Atlanta, which is where I have lived for the last 6 years.
Yep.
Moved here to specifically work in TV and film. COVID happened. And because of COVID, I hopped on social media,
Yep.
and the rest is kind of history there.
What happened in terms of how did you create your social media presence?
Yeah, I'd been creating content for years, but I was always focused on YouTube because YouTube was the big thing.
Mhm.
And my YouTube videos, I'm sure a lot of them are mortifyingly embarrassing. They're all unlisted now, so don't even try to look for them. They never took off. I never went viral there. I started seeing people make funny sketches on Instagram. It was still like when the videos were square. And yeah, COVID hit and I was talking to one of my sisters who was I knew that she was on TikTok, but TikTok at the time, from my understanding, was like a lip syncing and dancing app, which
Yep.
is not my thing. But one day she was like, "You know that you can post comedy on there?" And I was like, "Oh, you can?"
Mhm.
She said, "Yeah, you should make a video and whatever." Um, so I definitely maybe I would have gotten on it otherwise, but she's for sure the one that planted the seed at that time. So I made a video about COVID. It was the first video I posted and it went viral immediately. And I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, okay, that's awesome. I finally found my platform and my niche here." So, and viral for me was, I think it got, in a few days, it got like 300,000 views or something. So I posted a video, which was meant to be like a sequel. So it was very similar in style and it flopped. It got
Mhm.
like 300 views or something. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, okay. And that was a bit of a bummer. So yeah, I would say my stuff went viral occasionally,
Mhm.
not consistently. But then I started doing duets
Mhm.
on TikTok and Instagram where, the first person would post like their POV situation and leave blanks, like at least a second or two of space for somebody to respond. So those for me really became like the thing that took my following to another level. And it became this like new special skill that I found. And I loved the writing aspect of it. I've always been into writing and just like filling out the blanks of the conversation. And a lot of those for me went very viral, like different series or with different creators. I would say in the last 3 years, specifically with the introduction of more characters like the Mean Gays and the Clarksons, it's just been a bit more consistent. And I've found what the algorithm likes a little bit more, what my audience likes a little bit more. But even recently, with as many followers as I have, sometimes the algorithm is just not having it today. They're like, "What are you doing here? Why are you think you can succeed today? That's so cute."
So
Like
what
I
is
just
So what did you learn in terms of what your audience likes the most?
For me over the last few years are even just standalone videos, but videos that feel like they could be a scene in a sitcom.
Mhm.
Just like kind of stupid, happy, funny sketches. But a lot of times I'm a creative and I have a lot of different ideas
Mm,
that envelop a lot of different styles. I'm glad that I've allowed myself to take the risk of trying all those different things. But I think coming back to it and seeing the mixed results on those, I'm like, for what when you have your own TV show, great. Do all the outside of the box things that your brain takes you to. So,
so the first video when I bumped into you was
mhm,
you with Jake. You were playing a couple, and the guy came over from Grinder, and you were like, "You need the water," because the
yeah,
guy didn't look like what he was on the picture. It was very successful reel. The gays that watch your content, they can relate to a problem because it's
mhm,
just such a common problem. Then it goes viral, right? Because okay, we all been there in
yeah.
those situations. So is that correct? Is that what kind of your most successful niche?
Sometimes,
Okay.
and then sometimes not. Over the years, then like, oh, I've got it now. I've cracked the formula. This
Hmm.
video went insanely viral.
Hmm.
Let me emulate that formula with a new, different video, and it'll also do well. And a lot of times it doesn't.
Hmm.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
But then there's also videos where like, I don't know, I've got this idea. Let's just fucking shoot it. Let's edit this. And then I'm like editing it. I'm like, I don't know if this is funny anymore. One of my most viral videos, when I posted it that morning, I was like, this is garbage, but I just need to post something. I thought it was funny when I wrote it. I thought it was funny when we were filming it, but I spent so much time editing it and watching it again and again and again. I just need to post this and get it off my computer. And then
Yeah.
it went so, so viral. And it
Mhm.
wasn't Mean Gaze, it wasn't a relatable situation, it was something very different,
Mhm.
and yeah, so I think there definitely are creators that do a single type of format. It's always a very similar circumstance, and I am jealous of those people.
Mhm. Mhm.
I wish that my I wish that I could come up with as many ideas in a single niche, a
Yeah,
single
yeah, yeah.
category.
So coming back to even that video when you invite
Mm.
someone from Grindr, do you have any stories when that kind of backlash to you in the way that people are not taking it as a joke, messaging you something nasty?
Yeah, I mean, even my post yesterday, we just had Atlanta Pride, and it was a very what I thought was a fun compilation of like me with my friends. And there's one video in the like carousel where it's me like deep throating a banana.
Okay.
And I say deep throating, I didn't make it very far. This one guy like wrote a whole paragraph and has like left multiple comments of like, I have nothing wrong. I have nothing against the gay community, but, why do you have to do such evil things? And I was like,
Evil things.
"What?"
Yeah.
And so I kind of trolled him. I was like, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. You're right. It's really evil to show me being happy with my friends and celebrating. You're so right." And I knew that he was talking about the banana picture
Yeah.
probably. And then he wrote back like, as children of God, why can't we put out, positive things? I don't care way less about a joking video of me putting a piece of fruit in my mouth. I care way less about that than I do about how I treat people and how I live my life. And you're the one that's commenting unsolicited advice on a stranger's video.
Mhm.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You do read comments, you do read DMs, right? You
I
can't.
do. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if I don't respond to the DMs, I typically see uh, most of them.
Hmm.
I comments, especially depending on how viral a video goes, like if it's getting over 1,000 comments or even 300 comments, I'm not going through all of them. I used to. I
Yeah.
used to go through every comment, respond to every comment because I felt like that's what I was
Yeah.
supposed to do. But nowadays, I just free up that time for myself. I maybe respond to comments in the first couple of hours of a video, but uh, other than that, it's rare that I will
Yeah.
go back and do that. Not because I don't care. I enjoy a lot of the comments, but for me, it's a mental health thing and a how do I wanna, like, spend my time
Yeah.
right now? Yeah.
Did social media anyhow helped you in a romantic way to find any relationships?
I think overall, it has made those kinds of things more difficult for me anyway. Um, so back in 2020, I was still very new to making videos. It was about August. So I had gained on TikTok about 20,000 followers, but I still felt very safe to go out in public. But this guy came over and we did like an outdoor walk, probably with our masks on. um, and then like came inside and watched like half of a movie and then we hooked up. And as we were putting our clothes back on, he goes, by the way, I just had to tell you that me and all my friends watch your videos, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
and I had a very quick moment because that was the first time that had ever happened. It was like, oh, he's clearly very nervous, but I liked our time together. It was I like this person. I actually kind of was planning on wanting to see them again.
Mhm.
Um, And so how would in the future, how would you have liked your past self to respond in this moment? And so with that very quick mental process, I was like, "Oh, thanks. I'm so glad that you and your friends like my stuff."
Yeah.
And it just kept it very simple.
But are you saying that your popularity sometimes maybe doesn't help you in the way maybe people just want to meet that kind of person and say that they hooked up
Yeah.
with you? Something like
Yes.
that?
Or that's my insecurity with it anyway.
Okay.
So like on Grinder, there was a while where if I got, "Oh my god, you're that guy from," I would immediately turn my brain off, turn my dick off. And I was like, "Well, I can't meet up with this person because they know who I am." That started messing with me. I was like, "Well, I hooked up with this person purely because I thought they were hot,
Mhm.
but now I doubt that that was their intention coming this way."
Yeah.
Or I don't know. It's unclear. Um, because there was also a point where I hooked up with this guy and I didn't know this, but he happened to be like a Twitter, OnlyFans gay and ended up tweeting about it the next day.
Mm.
And thankfully, it was a nice tweet. It was,
Yeah.
like, very complimentary, um, but I was like, "Oh, right, people talk."
Mm.
In a group of gay friends, if a celebrity comes up, if anybody has a story about that person, or even if it's, like, one person removed, like a friend, "Oh, buddy of mine hooked up with him. He said it was amazing." Like, they don't lose a beat in sharing a story. So I became very paranoid with all that stuff, especially um, than in like things like Pride, where I have enjoyed just going to parties and making out with people and dancing and having fun and being able to like live that gay experience. And I felt like I was like catching up for lost time. Um, but then it started becoming, I would go to these things and heads would turn or people would come up to me and so I just became hyper aware hyper self-conscious and insecure. But yeah, anyway, that's part of the reason I'm back in therapy because I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I am emotionally, romantically stunted right now. I'm really in my head
Mhm.
about all this stuff. I have this like unspoken rule that if somebody recognizes me, I can't get involved with them, and I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
But because of how often I get recognized, that might just cut me off to a lot of people."
Mm.
Especially if they're gay and they have
Yeah.
gay friends and they're on social media, chances are maybe they've seen one of my videos or that they follow me or that they're a
Yeah.
fan.
Interesting. It's just I have several questions in my head. One of them is in my gym, I do have one probably famous person, and he was really into me with his eyes every time I am at the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know that it was him. I kind of fancy him as well. And
Mhm.
then one day when we went to the changing, we were washing hands next to each other. And I was like, hi. He was like, hi, la, la, la. What's your name?
Yeah.
And then I said, like, I think I might seen you somewhere. He's like, no, 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 you haven't. And I was
Mm.
like, I probably did. Because, very sometimes celebrities don't look in person. They look a little bit
Right.
different, right?
Or your brain recognizes them, but you don't know where from. Like, did we go to school together?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
we like what is the yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then he's like, yeah, maybe. I was like, cool. Like, can I stay in touch with you? Like, can we do you live here in this
Yeah.
area? Like, can we go for a coffee, etc. And then he said, yeah, let's swap Instagrams. And we swapped Instagrams. And I was like, I'm just worried that you'll never reply to me. And I texted him straight away
Mhm.
on Instagram, and he
Yeah.
never replied to me. So now when you're telling me it from your perspective,
Mhm.
I never even thought about it that some of uh, famous people are worried that they are liked, either liked only for that persona,
Yeah.
or they can get in trouble if that person is maybe not having the best intentions.
Yeah.
Right? Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's something I never really would have thought about
Yeah.
before it all happened very quickly
Hmm.
and then kept happening. So, I feel like I've found my footing a bit more where I talked with my therapist. She's like, "What if the next time you're into somebody, whether at the gym or somewhere else, and you strike up a conversation and then they mention something that they know you, what if you allow yourself not to shut it down right away?
Hmm.
Like, what could happen?
Hmm.
Because you've deprived yourself of maybe a lot of potentially great opportunities or great connections or
Yeah.
whatever." So I think I take it case by case.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think to go from feeling very anonymous my whole life to now where it just happens a lot more, um, yeah, there's a lot of mixed feelings because of all the experiences, because of all the negative experiences.
Yeah.
Um, and like, for example, like I said, it was Pride this weekend. I ran into somebody at Pride who I just thought was stunning. And we struck up a conversation. It was great. We're going back and forth like for 45 minutes. And they didn't recognize me. I didn't recognize them. And then I learned from a friend, like, oh no, they're one of the leads of that TV show. And I was like, I don't want to name the show just to. And I had no idea. And part of me afterwards was like, oh, I'm so glad that I didn't know who they were.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because no matter how much I try to just interact with somebody normally, I
Yeah.
think even subconsciously, there's more of a performance to put on, or
Yeah.
there's more of a desire to impress this person, or like
Mm.
something's going to change. And I was just so glad that we were able to at least initially connect for those 45 minutes where neither of us knew anything about each other industry wise.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And are you on dating apps?
I am, but I'm bad with dating apps. I'm on Tinder and Hinge, and I rarely log into either. I've tried applying for Raya, and they have yet to accept me. I'm on Grinder right now, but I'm on and off of it, and I don't have my face on Grinder anymore because the last time I did, my profile was terminated for impersonation,
Yeah. Yeah. I heard
and
often this.
I was
Yeah.
like, wait, no, but it is me.
Yeah.
Wait, and part of me got a little ego boost of like,
Yeah.
oh, enough people thought this must be a
Yeah.
fake. Like, that's pretty cool that they reported my account.
But do people DM you with intention for dating?
People DM me, I get sent unsolicited shit all the time. And
Okay.
usually I will never like respond or entertain or move forward with something unless it's somebody that I've met in person already and I'm really into them. Otherwise, I usually ignore those messages.
Fair. So apart from social media, you're also an actor. How is that different? And do you enjoy it?
I love it. It's my favorite. It's what I've wanted to do since I was a kid. Um, and I'm so happy that I'm in a place now where things are actually working out. I think
Hmm.
when I was a kid, neither me or my parents or anybody around us that we knew anything about the industry. So it took a lot longer for me to actually get into the legitimate industry.
Hmm.
I was just talking with a friend the other day and I was like, in the last 5 years since living in Atlanta, this is where I've gotten all of my legitimate TV and film bookings.
Yeah.
And I know that me 5 years ago, who only had independent films and student films and theater on their resume, would dream of being this person that I currently am with having gotten to work with all these incredible actors and on these amazing shows. Um, but a lot of times when it's slow, you don't feel that.
Yeah.
And so it was just, it was like a pep talk with me and my friend. Like, let's be like proud of ourselves knowing that 5 years ago we would have died to have this many credits and worked on these things, even though right now it feels slow or you're
Yeah.
struggling financially or whatever. Um, but yeah, I love acting and I want to do it forever.
You are very open about your sobriety journey.
Mhm,
Are you still sober?
mhm.
And is it challenging to be sober?
At times, yes, I am still sober. At the end of this month, I will have 9 years, and that's no drugs, no alcohol, no poppers. I am so glad that sobriety is a part of my life. I I know that before I was sober, I was still in the closet. I was deeply depressed and anxious and suicidal, and it has opened up so many opportunities that I never would have imagined.
Mhm,
Just me being able to move through life without that addiction. Um, it definitely has been challenging at times. I think, especially when I started to come out and started going to more gay public things, which I like never did when I was closeted. I did not club. I did not go anywhere where gay people were because I just didn't want somebody to see me. But now, going out to parties and dancing and whatever. Even this weekend at Pride, like there's a lot of people on substances
mhm,
or
mhm, mhm.
passing around edibles or K. There are times where I have the brief thought of like, oh, that looks fun. They look like they're having fun. And then I'm like, well, no, you if you do that, first of all, you'd be giving up this many years of sobriety. And also you don't need that to have fun. Like you're okay. So I prefer being sober, truly.
So you get used to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I have last question. You are also coaching for auditions.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Auditions these days, the majority of them are self tapes, meaning you film it by yourself or with a friend in your home. A lot of people will hire a coach. I was a coach and judge for thespian competitions for like 15 years. And so I got really used to accessing that part of my brain of like, this was good, but what could bring it to the next level?
Mhm.
Um, and I think that way about my own work too. Like I'll watch something and even if I think I gave a good performance, I'll be like, what could have been better? What's a lesson to bring for next time? So I love coaching and helping people like unlock the humor of a specific joke or the emotion of a specific like really difficult moment. Because I know that when I have a good coach, it is so helpful for me and I'm always so grateful. So yeah, there's a link in my bio if anybody
And you have
wants to worship me.
good success stories?
Yeah, yeah. I've had a lot of people that have booked some great roles.
Yeah.
To say it
You you take a credit.
shortly. Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't take credit. I don't take credit, but it does feel good to have been a
Of
part of
course.
their audition journey
Yeah,
for sure.
fair. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you would like to use this platform to announce?
Yeah. I am in a movie that will be hitting streaming very soon. It's called We're So Dead. It is a dark comedy horror uh, about a group of servers who are locked in a restaurant on Christmas Eve and pursued by a killer. And it's so fun and so stupid, um, very campy.
Yeah,
And that should be hitting streaming, I think, early November.
okay.
Um, and then I also just went to a screening last night of a pilot that I was in, and I had no idea what to expect, but I was blown away by how it came out. Um, and if you want to look that up, I know that they're continuing crowdfunding because they want to make more episodes. That the series is called Reptilia, so like reptile, but I guess with an IA at the end instead of
Mhm.
an E. So Reptilia. Um, it is. I having seen it last night, I was like, oh, this is gonna go far, and I really want to like do everything I can to help this project succeed and go to the next level. And my role in that was so fun. I loved working with them. And then, yeah, I am working on a book right now, tentatively currently titled Journal of a Gay Christian, because when I was closeted and deeply brainwashed, I journaled a lot.
Yep.
So looking back at these journals from a very lost, depressed, brainwashed person is quite fascinating, I think, years later to see how far I've come to like cringe at, oh my God, I used to say those things and
Yeah.
believe them. I used to think that way. Um, and so yeah, currently the format of the book is like actually taking scans of a lot of those journals and then responding to them as my current self and just like sharing stories around them and stuff. So yeah, I'm really passionate about that book and excited to continue working on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. It was a pleasure, and good luck.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Good luck with everything you're doing. Keep spreading the fun and comedy and positivity to this world as you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't guarantee that, but thanks for having me. Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.